Here I'm gonna give you a complete background about the British Royals. Uh, this is to let know a NATO alliance, this is to let know European Union, to United States of America, to British, that I will never ever let your British Royals to exist. For as long as I live, I solemnly swear that I will destroy your British Royals. For the cost of my life or whatever might be, your royals will not exist, shall not exist, and shall never ever exist. Your British royals, going to the age 5 in my life, acted with the Soviets, with the Soviet Union. Sergei Lavrov was the main guy in this exchange program, which did not include only international students, but it also included children. At age 5, 1976, is when I was delivered to Moscow, and everything was not brutally honest, but brutal. Touching a very core issues about a traitor, who the traitor is at age 5, a little child I was. They did let us know what the traitor is in the kindergarten, at this private child care where I was from this Yugoslav military officer. And when brought to the Moscow, it was Russians that wanted to determine, with not Yugoslavs on the picture, no Serbs, no Slovenes, but they wanted to determine if I'm a traitor. And it was not only done to me, but it was also done to other children. And they were evaluating these children. You know, basically it was a terror based on which they started to terrorize child on which one is to be destroyed and which one is not to be destroyed. They did not destroy really, I believe, anybody, but at that point in time they started to destroy children. They classify us into different categories, and in this audience, in this circle people with Sergei Lavrov, it was Prince Andrew, it was Prince Charles, and the most active, more active than Charles and Andrew, was Princess Anne and Queen Elizabeth. Moscow was a hotbed for a lot of stuff that today one hardly would imagine such possibility. But the World War II appears to me that it became, for British royals, a heavy burden, and they had to prove themselves maybe to domestic British public. In this circle of people in Moscow, there was American politicians, there was Israeli politicians, there was politicians from India, from China. Even if it wasn't for the British people, to whom they came a bit awkward because of the connection with Hitler, British royals were doing their best to establish, I'm not going to say authority, but a credibility for this in this new world. So we are talking about the year 1976. 1976. I was 5 years old. And as far as my memory can go, the British royals were in the picture all along when it comes to Moscow. And it was Prince Andrew, Princess Anne, who taught Russians, literally tutored them, so at least it appeared, with Lavrov, on how to spot the child that is traitor. Everything was about the traitor. This was the first MKUltra operation in my life. The first MKUltra operation in my life was its code name was a traitor. And they couldn't determine if I was a traitor because maybe I did not know, but they were trying to corrupt mind through the facial characteristics. They were using children from Eastern Europe and also adults, based on which they demanded child through his vision to recognize those faces based on the facial preferences. Like you say, a girl that is more appealing from the West, choosing her over a face from Eastern Europe was translated as a traitor. Everything was about traitors, and those traitors needed to be destroyed. At age 5, Sergei Lavrov already commenced with even what he referred to as, I'm going to give you one more chance. So he treated me at age 5, maybe even age 4 or 5, just as they treated me afterwards as an adult person. But what's interesting about this, and why I'm letting you know that I am not going to stop until I get your British royals destroyed completely. If I could, I would just put them in front of the castle and in front of the firing squad, and I would spare a single life, to be honest with you. I'm not a Bolshevik who was behind the murder plot of Romanovs, but these are beasts. These are not animals, these are beasts. It had everything to do with British royals, because it would be British royals that repeatedly branded me as a traitor, and were actually demonstrating Russians why to view me as a traitor, why to destroy me, why to waste me, basically. So the first code name of MKUltra operation as a child when I was 5 years old was a traitor. And the one who ran the whole thing, that was in charge the most, you would be surprised, that was Princess Anne. Princess Anne and Prince Andrew guaranteed me that there is no space for me in this life. Basically, I am dead already at age 5. It was also Prince Edward, who didn't differ in any way from Princess Anne and Prince Andrew. But really made Sergei Lavrov really like extremely confident. Like really, the thing is that these British royals selected me to be wasted. They would come to me on about 2-3 occasions in the circle of people in Moscow, and literally pointed me like you would point to the cattle and say, this one, this is the one, this one, this one, this one, this one, yeah. So they branded me like you brand animal, like cows and horses and stuff. And it was this one, this one. They branded other children too, and those children were destroyed. Based on my knowledge, they were destroyed. They were destroyed. And that's where and how the brain fucking play with the brain, basically, till the bitter end. I'm telling you, almost this after like 48 years started. That's where life went to. And it was always ranging between my guessing between the greater evil, with one predisposition that Russians and Serbs, Slovenes acted like a bad guy, like a bad boy, like a bully. That is, they took upon themselves all the guilt and suggested that not even they can save you, you know, not even they can save you. That's British basically. British were the people that loved me the most. They loved me the most. They loved me the most that they would buy the whole fucking world to give it to me. This is how they made me feel. And it started at age 5. And the whole thing, the whole life was like you would be exposed to torture, beatings, drugged up, chaos, a total chaos, and you would know whichever way you would turn, it would be a punishment. That punishment came from all the sides, from all directions. They were behind the plot, cancer, as a gift for my graduation. It's basically what I got as a gift. And many other issues among this. And they always acted with the Germans, with Americans, French, Italians, everybody else from Western Europe, like, not like my mentors only, but who unconditionally support me, but they acted like they make you feel like you're part of them. You're not part of where you're from or Eastern Europe or anything like this. They acted like I was it was always about they gonna do to you this, they gonna do to you. Before they infected me with a cancer upon my graduation, I don't know, age 18, 19 it was. I finished the schools and was off to go to the military service, and I wanted to do everything as fast as possible. And Slovenia became an independent country, and they told me, British royals warned me, you know, warned me in parentheses, warned, they always warned, before they did something to me, it was always warnings, and then it would be just total fucking dark. It would be like death, basically, that will follow up on me. Cancer, literally. It's like, warn me about that they will give me a cancer if I will be proud about my national heritage, Slovenian heritage. Because I grew up, I was big, I was strong, I wasn't a child anymore. Slovenia became an independent country. when that happened, the only thing that happened was simultaneously with Slovenian independence, I got cancer. But it was always British who played the good guy. They always gave a premonition, the warnings. And during those warnings, you would have the Russians like Shoigu and Lavrov and so on that would give direct death threats on how they will destroy me at any time. Other people also, Russian KGB. That I'm selected to be a dead and mention me other people, demonstrating the other people how they got cancer, what they did to them. It never changed with the Princess Anne, with the Prince Andrew, Charles. It was always the warnings, don't play neutral. It was always play neutral, play like, pretend like you're on their side. In other words, they demanded for me to side with the Serbs and with the Russians. They had nothing to do with American movie industry. This fucking British scum. This fucking British scum had nothing to do with the American film industry, with the German, with Italian, with the French, with Scandinavian, with Canadian. Views, these fucking Romanovs always and forever espionage for the Russians. They were as lethal as it gets during the Soviet Union. If you would come to attention, they would kill you, eliminate you on a heartbeat. They are not deserved for the fall of the Soviet Union. I am. American politicians are, as they could put me down no matter what, even with the British royals they used along the way in a process to destroy me. It's a scum. It sits atop of the Britain, practically in the top of the NATO. In a country which not too long ago was inside the European Union, and pretty damn soon is going to run back into European Union. A major American ally that threatened the world. No, I do not side with West because of I just knew that what went on as a child, all this stuff, should have never ever taken place. That this is bullshit. It had nothing to do as a child. When they put you in front of stuff like this, you are to make decisions that are going to impact your life. If not change one, then impact, definitely. And as much as I was not capable to change anything for 48 years, I understood my domain. Because, you see, they deemed like I was the intruder. Like, they deemed like they have a power over me. They deemed like they were somebody who ultimately had the ability to decide about you. It was in this helping Soviets to make the right decisions and build a Soviet Union which would be based on a total children with a total loyalty. And that was the program that for which Princess Anne foremost was in charge. Princess Anne was a foolish idiot that wanted to prove herself with Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth would mostly be in Britain. And when they would bring me to the Britain, to the great London, in would be that she would take charge about this. They treat me like an animal, really. They did not see me a human being. Basically, they saw me like something else, basically. Like um, somebody who needs to be destroyed, basically. And it was all based on in exactly what I stated. Now there is a possibility. It just crossed my mind that something like this they have used to divide the Soviet Union, and that it was the Soviets based on on this facial recognition. Once they started to mistreat people like that and even destroy children, it's the parents that take their note. It's like you start to create a crack, and this crack grows and grows and grows till it wides opens. I know that the crack they started in me at age 5. Uh, it just grew and grew and grew and grew into literally through the anger, through resentment against those whom I felt they should never allow anything like this, and just alienate you from your environment for some foreigners, for some people to do with you basically as they are pleased. Um, but entire British um, social engineering, the country, the state, was based on exactly what I stated, for which MI5, MI6, British intelligence, as well as Americans who were taking close notes, Americans and French, and everybody studied this stuff, are completely aware of. So the stuff I'm talking about, even for the stuff I'm talking about, definitely I have a backup. There is American government, there is French, it's German government, it's everybody that's going to say that is correct. That's exactly what it was. What Sergei Lavrov afterwards claimed that it was British, that fuck them, and it was British that claimed them in return, that it's actually exactly what the program, the social engineering program, what Britain is based upon, with beginning with the children at a very early age stage, using profiling them through the facial characteristics of other children, grown-ups also. I remember that at age 6, at age 7, I already liked, there was a lot of girls that I liked, which is like I had no idea I was that bad. But there was a world I was adult. I was adult during MK Ultra, and it was girls that were. It was quite funny because it was girls that they told me you were very dangerous, and I did not understood anything what they were talking about. And I frequently heard girls saying, I am too old for you, I'm too old for you. And it would be at age 6, 7. There would be girls at age 13, 14. And then they told me, no, that's too bad, you're really bad. It was the girls also at 22, 23 years old. You are a disaster, they told me. So the stuff I am talking about here is what the code name for the first MK Ultra operation that how I was subjected to was a traitor. And by God, that I'm going to give my best to destroy these people. I can possibly not imagine that some shit like Prince Harry or Prince William which they did, came into my face and stated me. They talked to me about how much money they owe me all the time, and then they were changing this amounts of money and issues, whatever it didn't fit them. They felt like they would suffer, the titles would suffer, or financially it would be costly to them. It was always about if you're gonna say this or you're gonna do that, it's gonna be a different price. If it's gonna be a different price, it's gonna be a different price. You know. Well, these people are not even in this world yet when I changed the world by myself without these people. And even with the people that, the members of these royal families, in spite of them, they were extremely enemy with me. They were my bigger enemies. The British Royals were my biggest enemies. From age 5 to about age maybe even 10. Yeah, we were in a war with one another. I didn't like them. I didn't like Queen. I didn't like Princess Anne. I didn't want to have nothing to do with any of them because they were scumbags. They were rats. They were Soviet rats that would do just about anything possible to cut my throat. We have seen each other through like you would be like through the barrel of a gun, basically. The most violent of them all directly was always Prince Andrew. He was a violent duck, but they could destroy me. I was already age 10, and the chance of growing, that these people were not even going to be able to destroy me. And when they started a completely different approach toward me, beginning the age 10, even age 9, they totally changed. But ladies and gentlemen, it's already 4 years that went past at least. These people must not exist because they are a threat to humanity. This was not a mistake. It was something else, and it was used for continuation of their follow-up against me. By God, if He's going to give me strength, if He's going to bless me enough, will destroy these people definitely. If you are in ability to contribute and have these people destroyed completely, vanish them. I don't really care. Please do help me for the safer world to be. They are a threat to humanity. They were, and they are a threat to humanity. They are unstable. They are treacherous as it gets, dangerous, violent. They wasted me 48 years of life. These people will never change. They are never going to change any of their views. This is just the people that paddle in whichever way the current is pulling. That's all there is. They don't have any principles. They don't stand up for what's right and wrong. They'll go and they'll kill a child. They try to kill me, a child, over what they claim to represent in public. For the fucking USSR, they try to. It's a scum. The price is gonna be the beginning of 1996.